now.
Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us here on First Alert 6 streaming this Thursday morning. I'm Cerise Cole.
And I'm Erin Hartley. It's good to have you with us, joined by meteorologist Jarrett Lansford and Senior Chief Meteorologist Rusty Lord. Let's get to the forecast first thing. Going to be a little bit colder today, though warmer start.
Yeah, it's a weird day today just compared to where we are, because we got a warm afternoon on the way. It's going to be the warmest we have for a while, but the morning, it's a lot colder than it was yesterday morning. We're at 18 degrees, feels like temperature of about 6 right now. The wind isn't all that bad. It's out of the south at about 10 miles per hour, but it's just enough to add a little bit of a bite. It's helping us out in some ways, though. You can see we have some teens along the river, but 20 in Miller, 22 in Gretna. Some 20s are starting to show up, and we've actually been as cold as 15 this morning. So the numbers have climbed a little bit as some clouds have moved in and the wind's kicked in just a little bit. But it's a cold morning no matter where you're at. You'll want the heavy coat. You might not need it quite as much by the afternoon, but you can see compared to yesterday at this time at 7 o'clock, most of these numbers are 10 to 20 degrees colder right now than we were yesterday morning. We've had some high clouds moving through. You can see that little surge right there. They've thinned out some, but there are more to the northwest. Not much wind just yet, but this will gradually pick up. No wind gusts of note anywhere near us. But you can see we head towards 10, 11, 12 o'clock. We're getting some gusts near 25 miles per hour. Look at that flip. Middle of the afternoon, they'll go northwest, weaken a little bit, and then pick right back up overnight into tomorrow morning. And that northwest wind, that is what's going to drive the colder air our direction. So we're in and out of the clouds this evening, or this morning, into the afternoon, into the evening. We'll call it filtered sunshine. I don't think it's ever completely cloudy. By noon, we're near 33. By 3, we're up to about 43 for the high. Sorry, folks on the Iowa side, you're going to be a lot colder than the Nebraska side. It's just the way it is. This warm air is trying to move in from the west. It's out ahead of this front. It doesn't get instantly cold right behind the front, but the wind will flip. And when that happens, we will see the colder air start to spill in tonight. So by 10 o'clock, we're at 35. Probably going to be right around 35, 36 once the clock reaches midnight tonight. That could be the warmest part of the day tomorrow, the way things are trending. And we'll start off tomorrow morning near 30, and you got these little streaks of snow diving in from the northwest. That's part of what we'll deal with on Friday with scattered snow showers. I just don't see much in the way of accumulation. The worst, maybe the wind-snow combo, if you get caught in one where you're driving, could drop visibility a little bit. But these struggle to accumulate a little bit.
Okay.
And they won't be widespread either.
So you keep mentioning the wind. How strong will those winds get this weekend?
Friday looks like the day that's going to have the strongest wind. So heads up there. You're trying to do something outdoors tomorrow. That's an early high of 32 because of that wind that picks up. So first alert to these gusts that are going to drive the cold air in heading towards Thursday or Saturday. You saw that high of about 11 there on Saturday. Look at the wind gusts by early Friday morning. We're talking already 30 to 40 miles per hour, and they'll gradually pick up some heading towards the lunch hour. You can see by about 9, we're talking gusts near 40. We head up towards noon. Those could be up near 50 in some spots. Now you can see a couple locations trying to get there. By 2 o'clock, 30 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts pretty easily. Same story into the 5 o'clock hour. Same story then into the evening. I still think the winds are going to howl deep into the evening and overnight hours and still have some gusts that are noteworthy on Saturday. So watch out for some of that early Saturday. I'm going to talk about the wind chills that come along with that here in a bit for Friday night, Saturday night into Sunday, and might even have to do it on Monday too. But look at the big dips in the temperatures here over the next couple of days. We're talking teens on Saturday, near 20 on Monday. So a lot of ups and downs the way things are looking.
All right, let's get an update on traffic this morning. Jarrett Lansford.
Yeah, Ben, talking about this crash on Highway 370. If you're in Sarpy County, that's a major route that you use, and westbound traffic has been blocked for a little while as a result of a crash at 114th. And as you're looking at the map, you're going to see this stands out pretty noticeably with those big red delays showing up as you're making your way westbound, approaching that intersection. So still looking at that being blocked. You've got some delays as you're coming southbound around toward that intersection as well. When you're talking alternate routes, there aren't really great options because a lot of traffic does make its way along here. You can make your way northbound on 114th, go through the roundabout, take Lincoln Road, and then go to 120th. However, that's a one-lane road. That's going to get pretty congested pretty quickly if everyone's trying to do that. Your other options, maybe using Giles. That's a little out of the way, but that would handle the traffic load a little bit better in that area. So hopefully we see this get resolved soon, but you can see there's quite the delays as you're heading through that stretch. We're also going to be picking up school traffic in this area pretty soon. We've got Papiola Vista South High right there, so at 108th. So we'll keep close tabs on this and keep you posted with the latest as we see that situation evolve. I also don't want this to get lost. This is starting at 9 a.m. We're going to be looking at Leavenworth closing at just east of 480. That's going to be a stretch that a lot of people use as they exit the interstate, especially with just up the road. You have a lot of the work that's happening with the streetcar and the Farnham Bridge being closed there with restrictions on those ramps. So that's something we're going to talk a little bit more in detail with alternate routes in just a little bit, but I want to plant that seed of that being something you want to start thinking about. For the morning drive, that remains open, and you can see through much of the rest of the metro, things are moving along pretty well. We've got some delays in Benson as you're making your way northwest radial toward the Maple area, and then of course we've got that crash that really stands out there on 370, but much of the rest of the metro does look pretty good, and hopefully we can keep things running smoothly as we head through the rest of our morning drive.
Yeah, that would be very nice. All right, Jared, thank you. Well, happening today, 2 of the 5 people charged in a human trafficking and prostitution investigation will appear in court. Amy Hicks and Douglas Johnson are asking the judge to lower their bonds. Hicks is a former employee with the City of Omaha Finance Department, and both suspects are facing several charges, including possession of child pornography. Both their bonds are set at $10 million.
Also today, NU Region set to consider a major proposal. Now, if this passes, Clarkson Regional Health Services would give up its 50% membership in Nebraska Medicine. Current and former officials with Nebraska Medicine have pushed back on this proposal, calling it, in quote, a state takeover. In an open letter, 3 former CEOs say they want regions to reconsider this proposal. Well, Nebraska's newest state senator is a familiar face.
That's right. Governor Pillen appointed Fred Meyer to fill the seat left open after Dan McEwen resigned earlier this week. McEwen faced an expulsion vote over allegations of inappropriately touching a staffer over her clothes at a legislative party. Now, this is the second time Pillen has selected Meyer for this exact seat. In 2023, he was appointed when Tom Breezy stepped down to become state treasurer. Meyer brings a background of leadership in boards on education and agriculture. Meyer says at first he wasn't interested in the appointments.
Coach Pillen started looking down his bench, and there was one guy on the end of the bench who didn't want to make eye contact with him. And he said, "Meyer, you're in the game." So that's why I'm here today, because I believe once you're in the game, then you give it your all.
Well, Meyer will finish out the term, which ends in 2029. When asked if he'll run for this seat in the future, he says he will see what the future holds.
All right, over here at the Safety Desk with Maria Cade. Across the U.S., respiratory illnesses are very high. If you've been out, you've probably seen it, heard it. Maria, why is it so important to know exactly what you have?
Well, you think of RSV, flu, COVID, they're all going around, and they're all pretty similar, but they do have some specific differences in those symptoms that can hopefully help you identify what you have so that you can get treatment faster and protect yourself. When you're sick, it can be really, really hard to know which one you have, so let's go through them. For the flu, Flu A tends to be more severe than Flu B. You can get those high fevers, shakes, chills. For kids, there are a lot of gastrointestinal issues as well. Adults can have more of a cough. When you look at RSV, those symptoms include a runny nose, congestion, coughing, and a decreased appetite. For COVID, some of those symptoms are a high fever, muscle aches, and stomach aches. Of course, if you are sick, it's important to get tested so that you can know which of those viruses you have. Again, then you can know what you have and get it treated early, and getting that early treatment is key. Of course, as with anything, if you have any emergency warning signs, symptoms, trouble breathing, or chest pain, you want to get that emergency medical care as soon as possible to get help.
Okay, we're also talking about a new study from the American Cancer Society providing some pretty good news this morning. morning. According to their research, more Americans are surviving cancer.
Yeah, definitely encouraging to hear. This new report is finding that actually 70% of Americans who have cancer are living at least 5 years after they get that initial diagnosis. And this is a major milestone, up from 50% back in the 1970s when they last took this data. ACS says cancer deaths are declining in the U.S., and this is mainly because there are less people smoking. There's better and earlier detection of cancer, and then, of course, improved treatments to treat that cancer as well. More than 2.1 million people here in the U.S. are predicted to be diagnosed with cancer this year. But, of course, it is still a major disease that impacts so many people. Lung cancer is the #1 cause of death for cancers, and that's followed by colorectal cancer and pancreatic cancer.
Okay, Maria Cade, thank you very much. We're back after this.
Welcome back, everybody. We've been talking about it all morning. It is a cold start, even colder than yesterday, and that was cold.
Yeah, and that's the way it's going to be here. The mornings are going to be incredibly cold here all the way through the weekend and into the early part of next week. So plan accordingly, bundle up. It's a lot different this morning than it was yesterday morning. We're at 18 degrees, basically a degree or two either side of 20 for most of the metro. So obviously heavy coat, warm hat, gloves, whatever you need to stay warm here. I guarantee the car heaters are working all across the metro this morning. Right around 20, a little colder on the Iowa side. Notice Trainer, Underwood, Council Bluffs, kids heading to school there. You got a little colder morning than the rest of us, and that's the same story on the Iowa side. That's a story even into the afternoon. Unfortunately, viewers in Iowa, you're going to be colder than the Nebraska viewers today as the warm air is trying to move in from the west, and we'll see how far we can get here. Feels like temperatures in the single digits in some spots, so these have dropped off a little bit, but the gusts aren't all that bad. We're up near 10 miles per hour. It's just when it's cold, any little breath of wind seems to make a bit of a difference. Now you can see the high clouds that are moving through. A little wider view shows there's more coming in from the northwest, but I don't ever think it's going to be completely cloudy today. So with that, we can take the 20s and teens this morning, turn them into about 43 this afternoon, slowly fall off a little bit, and whatever's on the thermometer, I think just after midnight tonight, could end up being the high temperature for tomorrow. I'm going about 34, 35 for that. We'll put 32 then when you wake up tomorrow morning and falling off from there, probably sometime in the mid-morning hours and then tailing off. Notice by the end of the day, we're down near 22 by 6 o'clock, and the wind chill forecast for tomorrow goes down near zero by the end of the day. So factor that into your Friday night plans. It's going to be a cold one because of this howling northwest wind on Friday that'll drastically change our temperatures. That'll gust to 40, 50 miles per hour during the day Friday, fall off a little bit in the evening, but still there Friday, still there Saturday. And then maybe a little reprieve in the morning Sunday before it picks right back up Sunday afternoon and gusts near 40 miles per hour. Monday, we're looking at northwest wind gusts that could hit 30 miles per hour. It just looks like a very windy stretch. You're going to be incredibly tired of the wind by early next week if you're not so already. And with that, even on Friday, we have some wind or some snow potential. This is Friday, 7 a.m. I'm not all that worried about the snow. By far, the bigger story is going to be the cold and the wind with anything that happens this weekend. We're talking a couple of snow showers that move on through. Temperatures fall off through the course of the day. These will just be little pockets of snow you may see on radar occasionally. Could drop visibility just a little bit, but I'd be incredibly surprised if they really add up to anything. 11 for the high on Saturday. That has just kept trending colder and colder. And 20 for the high on Monday. A couple of cold blasts there that really stick out.
I feel like we're really on this roller coaster of these lows, and then we've seen these warmer temperatures in the 50s and 60s. Do we go back up to quite that, or no?
That would be nice.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get some of those warmer numbers here. It doesn't look like we'll have anything incredible, but the wind and the wind chill combo this weekend might try to help bump the numbers up a little bit at one point over the weekend. So this is Saturday morning where we see the wind chills really drop down. We're talking 5 to 10 below as we start off the day on Saturday. And then could be through the course of the afternoon and into the evening as well. We're down near zero Saturday evening. May not get above zero at times through the course of the day Saturday and even into Sunday morning before they spike a little bit. So there's a little surge of something that tries to warm up on Sunday. But I fear they might get cold again heading into Monday morning as well. And we're looking at, there you go, up near 35, 40 degrees by middle to end of the week. Before, unfortunately, might have another cold blast next weekend as well. So there's the downs, unfortunately, lining up on the weekends.
Yeah, it's been that way for a while.
Last weekend, this weekend, and may do it again next weekend, too.
All right. Makes us not want to go out and have a lot of fun on the weekend, but we'll get through it.
Lots of indoor get-together.
Yes. So let's get an update on that crash at 370. You got some good news.
I do have good news. We have cleared that crash now, and now all lanes are open. So that's going to be great news for anyone who drives through Sarpy County, that you can use that route, and you can see just how much better that looks, even with that news just having come in. We have gotten rid of all those reds, and pretty normal traffic now has resumed through that stretch. So great news for anyone who's going to be using Highway 370. Elsewhere, I want to revisit that Leavenworth closure that I mentioned earlier. That starts at 9 a.m., so it's still open right now, but in a couple of hours, that's scheduled to close just to the east of 480, and that's going to be lasting into the day tomorrow. So tomorrow morning at this time, you likely will not be able to use that. So if you exit 480 and typically turn right, you won't be able to do that. So alternate routes get a little tricky with this because you have lane restrictions as you continue north on 28th Street and try to get to Harney to head downtown. So that would slow you down, as a lot of people would try to do that. It may almost be better served if you're trying to head to downtown to exit at Martha and then make your way maybe over toward the 13th or so and then head north from there, and then you can get to downtown. Now again, this is short term. This is today and tomorrow, but you'll need to plan accordingly. Elsewhere, right now, things moving along pretty well. We do have some delays on the JFK if you're heading toward I-80, but elsewhere it's not too bad for how things are moving on a lot of the rest of our roads. It's good to see that much green on 370, especially with how bad that was impacted most of the morning.
Sure. All right, Jared, thank you so much for that update. Well, happening today, Governor Jim Pillen will give his State of the State address. In last year's speech, he called on lawmakers to simplify state government, reduce spending, and change the way Nebraska counts its electoral votes in presidential elections. The address is set to begin at 10 o'clock this morning, and we will have live coverage on our website. It's firstalerts6.com. Well, still to come, a Superfans epic tribute.
Yeah, see what's stopping some shoppers in their tracks when we return.
Welcome back, everybody. A lifelong Seattle Seahawks fan from British Columbia is turning heads. He built a display entirely from soda boxes inside the grocery store where he works.
Yeah, around 1,500 boxes were used to create this massive themed installation.
Wow.
The tribute has drawn crowds of curious shoppers, plenty of photos, and of course, Seahawks fans too. The grocery store worker says the display has been in the planning stages for about 8 years.
Oh my
Look at the top
gosh.
part. It's not just the city skyline, too.
This is so impressive.
That's really awesome.
He should get a raise.
Yeah, bringing in some customers.
I'm telling you, getting that store all this kind of publicity, but it is amazing.
Yeah.
Just in time for the big playoff match that you have this weekend.
Who they got?
It is the 49ers.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm
they gotta
sorry,
keep that up there.
I guarantee you he has Lego collections. I guarantee
Right?
Sure. He's practices somewhere, right? And that is so very cool. We're going to leave you on that note. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to get ready for our update into today's show. Of course, you can watch it here on streaming or over our air.
Have a great start to your Thursday.
Live from WOWT, First Alert 6 starts now.
Well, good Thursday morning, everybody. It is 7:26. I'm Cerise Cole.
And I'm Aaron Hartley. Some impacts on the roads to get to right now. Here's Jarrett Lansford.
Yeah, let's take a look at Fort Street, right near 680, and you can see how slow things are as you're making your way eastbound. The westbound delays are due to some construction work that's happening right at 103rd, so that makes sense, but we also have those eastbound delays that may be the result of a crash. Use caution if you're heading through that stretch. Speaking of, we have finally cleared our crash on Highway 370. Things looking much better in that area with smoother travel. And as far as any kind of delays go, we have some delays as you're going northbound on the JFK from I-80 back down toward Cornhusker, and then Blair High as you're approaching 680 eastbound, also showing some delays at this point. So we'll keep an eye on those, keep you posted as the morning goes on. Rusty.
Thanks, Jared. A beautiful view here as we look out across downtown. You got the Missouri River flowing there. You got the Mutual of Omaha Tower that continues to fill in and fill up as well. We're at 18 degrees, southeast wind 10 miles per hour. That's the strongest it's been. So we're putting a wind chill of about 6 right now out there on the maps. 10 to 20 degrees colder right now than we were at the same time yesterday. So layer up. Heading out, the winds will pick up over the course of the morning. And we'll catch 22 here. They'll drag in the warmer air, but also add a little bit of a bite along the way. 25 to 30 mile per hour gusts around noon, tail off some into the afternoon. With that, we'll get a high today of about 43. Enjoy that. It gets a lot colder tomorrow and into the weekend. Aaron?
Happening today, NU Regents are set to consider a major proposal. If passed, Clarkson Regional Health Services would give up its 50% membership in Nebraska Medicine. Current and former officials with Nebraska Medicine have pushed back on this proposal, calling it, in quote, a state takeover.
Well, it is now 7:28. We're back with another update for you in 25 minutes. We'll see you then.